Hi, and we are back on In-Realty. When Dino was saying that he was outside on the hot sun and it's Hogwarts outside, well, here it's Winter Wonderland because I am glad I'm in here. So with me today is Lee Sumaylee and also Lincoln Lee from the previous segment. We've met them before in a couple of episodes ago, yeah? So this would be your house and also a show house and also an office?
Yes.
Yeah, so there are about 8 people in this house, but I don't really feel warm or it's really cool and there's no air condition. So talk to us about the application of Smart&Cool homes here.
Okay, the science behind it, as you have mentioned earlier, the heat sink that cools down the concrete. And now we are inside the house, and then you can see here the roof, which a lot of people think we have to remove heat. So what we do in the roof, we use a Venturi action flow.
Okay.
That means we actually remove the heat underneath the tiles. For example, this is a roof tiles and the sunshine is on it. It can be very hot. So a certain extent can even reach 90 degrees. So if you break an eggs here, you will roll down and you will turn into white.
Okay.
You put it before you actually roll down. So it's so hot and most people think that the roof actually contribute a lot of heat to the building, which is quite true. But then again, we are not using insulation.
Okay.
We are actually removing the heat through a Venturi action flow. A Venturi action flow means from a big space to a small space back to a big space. All right. So what we do is that we give a gap so that we will actually have an insulator after that gap. That insulation will then prevent the heat that heat up the roof tiles and go down. Okay. We have the insulation there is because we want to build up the heat over here, that small gap. With that building of this heat, we create a heat pressure, just like a hot air balloon. You run out to the ridge where we allow the hot air to go out. Okay, so they create a pressure. We actually create a pressure. All right, so it's the same as this range here. If I tear this out and I try to suck the water from here, I can't do it. But if I put a straw down here, now this is a big space to this small space to my mouth back to a big space, I can move up.
Okay, so it's actually simple science.
It's simple science, all come back to simple science. Because here we have to apply all simple science because costing is very important.
Yeah.
And we try our level best never to use any form of additive. Try to use the nature and work along with it. Okay, that's how we came about. So from our approach, we are very holistic. We look at all angles. A good example is that when we first built this house, some of them comes into the house and they says to me, says, Lincoln, you look up into your ceiling, you put a ceiling so high, okay? I bet you that the ceiling up there will be very, very hot.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay? So I say, no, it will be cold. He says, come on, I don't believe you. So what we did was we modified this balcony. If you can see this balcony, it's punched through this wall. Look, later it's after thought to build this balcony, so that just now you was
try
up
and test
there
it, yeah.
to test it yourself,
Yeah.
and you realize that there is no heat being transmitted into this this house.
All right.
So that's how we do it. When the sun is hot, the pressure is higher, the faster the air change is. So the heat is being taken out very fast. And that's why we don't want to bring in the heat.
All right, so how about your walls? Did you do anything to the walls that is different from your typical home?
Well, we use an insulator concrete block, which is called, they call it foam concrete, or we have a lot of building material that's using it now. But the skill to do it is to bring it down to the ground where is a heat sink. So what we do is that, this is a very good example, look, we have this as an insulator. So what we do, we plaster or render this very thin. The thinner it is, the faster for the heat to travel. And then we stop it from going in down here because this distance is much longer than this distance. Okay, so we must make sure that the heat stays here instead of moving this direction, so that we have enough time to pull it down from external and internal. And if you can see our upper floor slab here, they are all corrugated.
Yeah.
The reason we corrugate it is the same theory like a heat sink. When our body heat give up, we can give something like 100, maybe 100 watts, maybe 150. These heats will go up, and then we'll go to the concrete. We'll bring down to the rendering of the wall, down to back to the tire. So the tires as the heat sink is the most critical. It's a core technology to this house. If you ask me to take away the tires, I cannot guarantee you the coolness.
All right.
Okay, a lot of people has been using insulation. Yes, that's good, but it's not so good in this part of the country. It's very good in foreign country because they are trying to keep the house warm. Here we are removing heat, so it have to be a very different method of doing it. Okay, so we are actually having the approach of a real Malaysian living for 40, 50 years of our life, trying to cool down the building. So we know what's the best thing to do. The Smart&Cool homes actually reduce a lot of time of construction, and it uses very little formwork, and it's much faster to build. You can build a bungalow, a medium-sized bungalow to a small bungalow within 2 months, complete.
And we use
Only 2 months.
about
only.
50% less labor.
Okay, we only use 5 to 6 people working.
We know that this is a family business. It's a husband and wife team. Okay, so we obviously know what Lincoln does, his role. But what do you do, Sumay, in Smart&Cool Homes?
Well, I do a lot on the research side.
Okay, so you are the brains behind it.
I think a company will function well if everybody chips in and everybody uses their brain. Yeah. So, of course, I take care of the other administrative work in the company as well. Yes.
So if I were to embark on a Smart&Cool home, what are the points that I should consider before calling you guys?
First and foremost, you must get a good consultant. One of our biggest obstacle is actually the consultant.
Okay.
The mindset, the human mindset that don't want to change. So you must be very firm.
You must be open to new things. A lot of people will say that what you're doing is not found in the books, and therefore it might not be real. But that's the thing about inventions, about new things, about creativity. If it's found in the book, it's nothing new. So, you have to be open-minded, and it's best that you come and feel for yourself and see for yourself the finished product.
All right. So since we're all up for Christmas on the 25th, what are your messages to your viewers or whoever who is interested in Smart&Cool home?
Well, think about the children. We brought them to this earth, and if you can see this cartoon school, you can see that the children are actually very worried. They know very soon, in 20 years it's not far.
Yeah.
It's quite near. And the parts per million is climbing up very fast.
And also for the not so old ones like us, which in 20 years will be like 60 years old, you would like to retire, or if not retire but still live comfortably. And if while you are old and if the world is not a good place to live in, you will suffer more.
Yeah, not so old would be like us. The old ones would be like Dino, yeah? We're going to take a quick break. Thank you so much, Lincoln and Lee Sumay. Merry Christmas.
Okay,
see you again on the next segment.